You don't see it yet. The water is perfectly still. A ribbon of brown and green threading through reeds that haven't moved in minutes. The air is heavy, humid, the kind of heat that makes sound travel differently, slower, somehow, like even noise is reluctant to move. A bird lands on a log at the water's edge, drinks, looks around. Nothing happens. And then something changes. Not the water, not the air, something subtler. A pressure shift, a shadow beneath the surface that wasn't there a second ago. The bird is gone before you even register it happening. That is a crocodile, not a monster, not a cartoon villain. Something far more unsettling than either of those things, a living relic. A creature so perfectly engineered for survival that evolution, the relentless force that has redesigned almost every species on this planet across hundreds of millions of years, looked at the crocodile and thought, no, leave it alone. This one works. What you're about to discover isn't just a collection of facts about a large reptile. It's the story of the most successful predatory design in the history of complex animal life. It's the story of something that watched the dinosaurs rise, the dinosaurs fall, the mammals take over the planet, and kept doing exactly what it had always done. It's the story of a creature that might be more intelligent than you're comfortable admitting. That feels more than you'd expect. That is, in ways that should genuinely unsettle you, watching you right now far more carefully than you are watching it. To understand the crocodile, you first have to let go of your sense of scale. Not physical scale, though that matters. Temporal scale. Time. The crocodilian lineage, the broad family of animals that crocodiles belong to, first appeared approximately 240 million years ago. To put that in perspective, the entire age of the dinosaurs, from their emergence to the asteroid that ended them, spans roughly 165 million years. Crocodilians predate the dinosaurs. They watched them arrive. They watched them leave. The first crocodilians were not like the animals you know today. Some were small and nimble, running on long legs like prehistoric dogs. Others were enormous. Sarcosuchus, a species that lived 112 million years ago, measured up to 40 feet long and likely weighed more than 8 tons. That's not a crocodile. That's a bus with teeth. But then something extraordinary happened. Or rather, something extraordinary didn't happen. About 80 million years ago, the crocodilian body plan stabilized into something remarkably close to what exists today. The semi-aquatic ambush predator. The armored back. The long, laterally flattened tail. The eyes and nostrils elevated to see and breathe while the rest of the body stays submerged. The jaw that closes with catastrophic force and opens with barely any resistance at all. When that asteroid struck 66 million years ago and killed 3/4 of all species on Earth, including every non-avian dinosaur, the crocodilians survived. Barely, perhaps, but they survived. And they have been doing essentially the same thing, in essentially the same body, ever since. You, as a member of Homo sapiens, have existed for perhaps 300,000 years. The crocodile's basic design has been intact for 80 million. If the history of complex life on Earth were compressed into a single year, you would appear in the last 4 hours. The crocodile has been here since late July. Think about what that means when you stand at the edge of a river and feel like you're looking at something wild and unknowable. You are looking at something that has forgotten more about surviving on this planet than we have ever had the chance to learn. Imagine you are standing at the edge of a river, not visiting it, standing in it, up to your knees. It's late afternoon, and the water is warm and murky, and you can't see your feet. Now imagine something 14 feet long, weighing 1,000 pounds, is within 20 feet of you, and you have absolutely no idea. That is not a hypothetical. That is a Tuesday for a Nile crocodile. The crocodile's ability to become invisible in plain water is one of the most refined predatory adaptations in nature. It is not hiding, exactly. It is making itself irrelevant to your senses, slipping beneath the category of things you feel the need to worry about. Eyes positioned on the top of the skull, nostrils on the tip of the snout. This means a crocodile can be almost entirely submerged, exposing less than 2 square inches of surface area, and still see the entire bank. Still breathe, still hear, still sense the vibrations of everything around it. That last part, the vibration sensing, is where it gets extraordinary. Look closely at the face and jaw of a crocodile next time you have the opportunity. You'll see small, dome-shaped nodules scattered across the skin. They look almost like scales, but they're not. They are called integumentary sensory organs, and they are pressure-sensitive receptors so extraordinarily precise that a crocodile can detect a single water droplet hitting the surface from a distance. Every ripple tells a story. The weight of an animal, its gait, its hesitation, its direction. A crocodile lying motionless in a river is not resting. It is reading. It is assembling a picture of the world above the waterline using data that is completely invisible to you. When prey approaches, the crocodile does something that takes genuine restraint. It waits. It may have been monitoring this approach for 20 minutes. It may know the animal's routine better than the animal does. But it does not move until the moment is exactly right. Until the prey is at the edge, that narrow strip of margin between safety and catastrophe. And then, stillness becomes explosion. A crocodile can launch its full body mass out of the water in less than a second. That transition, from perfect motionlessness to full commitment, is so abrupt that the prey's nervous system often doesn't have time to register it as a threat before it's already over. The bite that follows is not something you can fully comprehend from numbers alone, but let's try. A Nile crocodile generates a bite force of approximately 3,700 pounds per square inch. The saltwater crocodile, the largest living reptile on Earth, has been recorded at over 3,600 psi, possibly higher. For comparison, a large dog bites with around 300 psi. A human, at maximum force, produces about 200. A crocodile bite is not primarily about pain. It is about making escape geometrically impossible. Here is something that sounds like it was invented for a nature documentary, but is, in fact, one of the most biomechanically precise behaviors in the animal kingdom. The death roll. When a crocodile has secured prey in its jaws, and secured is the correct word, because that grip will not open, it begins to rotate its entire body along its longitudinal axis. Over and over. Rapidly. The physics of this are brutal and deliberate. Large prey cannot simply be bitten through. The jaw, for all its closing force, is not designed to shear. It is designed to grip. So the crocodile solves the problem mechanically. It grips and rotates, using the torque of its whole body to tear. What makes this particularly haunting is that crocodiles will occasionally perform the death roll even before prey is dead, while the struggle is still ongoing. The roll disorients the prey, floods the inner ear, destroys equilibrium, generates enough G-force on the soft tissues gripped in the jaw to rupture them entirely. Multiple crocodiles will also coordinate this behavior. One individual holds the prey while another begins to roll in the opposite direction, the combined rotational force essentially quartering the carcass between them. This is not accidental. Studies of crocodile feeding behavior have documented the coordination happening consistently, with individuals appearing to adjust their rolling direction in response to what their companion is doing. For a long time, science described this as instinctual. Increasingly, researchers are less confident about that label, which brings us to something that most people find the hardest to accept about crocodiles. The word intelligence makes people uncomfortable when applied to reptiles. We tend to reserve it for mammals. For animals with warm blood and social bonds and large, folded neocortexes, crocodiles have none of those things. And yet, in 2013, a paper was published documenting observations of American alligators and mugger crocodiles in India carrying sticks and branches on their snouts during the nesting season of local herons and egrets. The birds, building their nests at that time of year, need sticks. They will fly in close to retrieve them. The crocodiles appeared to know this. They positioned themselves near active nesting colonies with sticks balanced on their snouts and waited. This is tool use. Seasonally timed tool use, deployed in anticipation of a specific behavior from another species. If a chimpanzee did this, it would be on the front page of every science publication in the world. Because it was a crocodile, it barely made the news. But the evidence keeps accumulating. Crocodiles have been documented learning the patterns of specific individuals and adjusting their approach accordingly. They have been observed returning to the same locations at the same times of year based on predictable prey migrations, not just generationally, but within a single animal's lifetime. They have demonstrated the ability to adjust their hunting strategies based on past success or failure. There is also mounting evidence that crocodiles play. not in the complex social way that mammals do, but play in the sense of behavior that serves no immediate survival purpose. Carrying floating objects, surfing in river currents, returning to interact with familiar humans in ways that look, functionally, like enjoyment. One captive saltwater crocodile at the St. Augustine Alligator Farm in Florida was observed repeatedly swimming across its pool while carrying a ball, returning to the edge, releasing the ball, and swimming after it again. This went on for extended periods. No food reward, no external motivation, just play. The brain of a crocodile is small. The part responsible for memory, pattern recognition, and strategic planning is not. Crocodiles have been alive long enough to develop cognitive tools we are only beginning to map. And there is one more dimension to crocodile cognition that almost nobody talks about. One that will completely reframe the way you think about these animals. But we'll get to that. Before we get to what might be the most surprising part of this story, let's establish exactly how physically extraordinary a crocodile is, because the hunting behavior is almost secondary to what the body itself is capable of. A crocodile can go without food for up to 2 years. Not weakened, not diminished, functionally operational. It achieves this through one of the most efficient metabolic systems ever documented: the ability to slow its physiological processes to near hibernation levels while remaining fully conscious and alert, and then ramp back to full predatory capacity almost instantly when opportunity arises. This is not the same as a mammal losing body mass during starvation. A crocodile in metabolic conservation is genuinely, mechanically different from a hungry one. It is running on reserves in a way that no warm-blooded animal can replicate. Then there is the immune system. Crocodile blood contains natural antimicrobial peptides so aggressive that they have shown activity against bacteria that are resistant to every known antibiotic. In the wild, crocodiles routinely sustain injuries that would kill other large animals through infection: lost limbs, severe lacerations, deep puncture wounds from rival crocodiles, and they heal. Not just survive. Heal, sometimes completely, sometimes with astonishing speed. Researchers studying this property have isolated proteins from crocodile blood serum that kill multiple strains of MRSA and even HIV. The applications for human medicine are not theoretical. They are being actively researched. The crocodile's heart deserves its own paragraph. It is the most complex heart of any reptile, containing 4 fully separated chambers, a distinction it shares only with birds and mammals. But it has an additional adaptation those animals lack: a valve called the foramen of Penisa that allows the crocodile to shunt blood away from the lungs and directly back into systemic circulation, enabling it to stay underwater for over an hour in low-activity states, and extend dives during exertion by managing oxygen distribution with extraordinary precision. When you understand these systems together, the metabolism, the immunity, the cardiovascular architecture, you begin to grasp why this body plan has persisted for 80 million years. It is not that crocodiles are hard to kill, though they are. It is that they have been engineered by time itself into something that refuses, at a cellular level, to be killed. There is a riverbank in Kenya. Late evening. Dozens of Nile crocodiles are hauled out on the sand, their bodies touching, overlapping, draped across each other in the cooling air. This is not competition. This is something else entirely. Crocodiles are commonly described as solitary ambush predators, and in terms of hunting, that's largely accurate. But their social lives are considerably more complex than that description implies. Crocodile vocalization begins before birth. Crocodile eggs are buried in nests, some in mounds of vegetation, some in sandy holes, and the incubation period lasts between 2 and 3 months, depending on species. In the final days before hatching, the embryos inside begin to produce high-pitched chirping sounds that can be heard through the shell and through the earth. The mother, who has been guarding that nest, often without eating, for the entire incubation period, hears these sounds and begins to excavate. She digs out the eggs. She carries her hatchlings to the water in her mouth. The same jaws that produce 3,700 pounds per square inch of force carry babies no larger than your hand without injury. The hatchlings gather into groups called pods, and the mother continues to guard them, not casually, but aggressively, defending them from predators including monitor lizards, large birds, and other crocodiles. She responds to their distress calls by physically retrieving them. She has been documented responding to distress calls from recordings of her own young played through a speaker, moving toward the sound and searching for them. This is maternal recognition, emotional attunement to offspring, in a reptile that people routinely describe as unfeeling. In some species, both parents participate in guarding the nest and the hatchlings. Saltwater crocodile pairs have been observed coordinating patrols of nest perimeters. Male Nile crocodiles have been documented using their bodies as slides for hatchlings, holding still in shallow water while young crocodiles scramble over them. None of this should fit the image of the crocodile as a cold, purely mechanical killing machine. And yet here it is. The crocodile is not a monster because it kills. Everything that survives kills. The crocodile is something stranger and more worthy of attention than a monster. It is an ancient animal with a rich, deeply misunderstood inner life, making its way through a world it has inhabited longer than almost anything else alive. And yet, we should not be sentimental. Crocodiles are cannibals, not occasionally, not in extremis, regularly, strategically, and sometimes for reasons that appear to have nothing to do with hunger. Large male crocodiles will eat smaller individuals, including their own young. This is not aberrant behavior. It is a territorial and competitive strategy. By eliminating smaller competitors before they can grow to challenge the dominant male's access to territory and mating rights, a large crocodile improves its own reproductive success. From a purely evolutionary standpoint, this is rational. The waters of the lower Mara River in Kenya during the annual wildebeest migration are one of the most documented sites of crocodile predation on Earth. What is less documented, and considerably more unsettling, is what happens in the spaces between those moments, when crocodiles are not hunting wildebeest, but are in close proximity to each other for extended periods. Hierarchies form. Smaller animals defer. The most dominant animals, usually the oldest, largest males, occupy the prime ambush positions and feed first. This hierarchy is maintained not only through aggression but through displays, gaping jaws, raised heads, low bellowing sounds that resonate through the water. When two crocodiles of similar size encounter each other, the result can be spectacular and terrifying. Jaw slamming, full body charges, combat that leaves both animals with missing teeth, torn scales, and lacerations that would be fatal to any less durable creature. These fights are rarely fatal, but they can be, and sometimes a defeated rival becomes a meal. The largest crocodiles hold territories that can span miles of riverbank. They know their territories in intimate detail, every deep hole, every shallow crossing, every log and sandbar and reed bed. They patrol these territories with the same systematic focus that a land predator patrols its range, just slower, quieter, and far harder to detect. Here is something worth clarifying, because the confusion causes real problems. Crocodiles and alligators are not the same animal. They are related, both members of the order Crocodilia, but they diverged into separate evolutionary lineages approximately 80 million years ago. In terms of the time they've been distinct from each other, alligators and crocodiles are as different from each other as horses and rhinoceroses. The easiest physical distinction: when a crocodile's mouth is closed, you can see its teeth, specifically the large fourth tooth of the lower jaw, which fits into a notch in the upper jaw and remains visible. An alligator's lower teeth disappear entirely when its mouth is closed, tucked inside the upper jaw. Crocodiles tend to be more aggressive. They are the primary species responsible for human fatalities. Alligators, while certainly dangerous and responsible for occasional attacks, are generally more tolerant of human presence. This is not a guarantee. This is a tendency. The saltwater crocodile, found across Southeast Asia and northern Australia, is the largest living reptile on Earth and arguably the most dangerous. It can reach 23 feet in length and exceed 2,200 pounds. It is the only crocodilian species that regularly enters open ocean and has been found hundreds of miles from shore. It is not confined to rivers. It is not confined to coastlines. It is, in the most literal sense of the phrase, at home in the water. Crocodiles tend to be more aggressive. They are the primary species responsible for human fatalities. Alligators, while certainly dangerous and responsible for occasional attacks, are generally more tolerant of human presence. This is not a guarantee. This is a tendency. The saltwater crocodile, found across Southeast Asia and northern Australia, is the largest living reptile on Earth and arguably the most dangerous. It can reach 23 feet in length and exceed 2,200 pounds. It is the only crocodilian species that regularly enters open ocean and has been found hundreds of miles from shore. It is not confined to rivers. It is not confined to coastlines. It is, in the most literal sense of the phrase, at home in the water. People believe a lot of false things about crocodiles, and some of those false beliefs have consequences. The most persistent myth: crocodiles are slow and clumsy on land, and you can escape one by running in a zigzag. The truth is more complicated. A Nile crocodile can run in a straight sprint at approximately 12 miles per hour for short distances. Not impressive compared to a cheetah, but very impressive compared to most panicked humans stumbling away from a riverbank. More importantly, crocodiles on land are almost never in full pursuit. By the time a crocodile is moving toward you on land, you have already been the subject of observation, calculation, and strategy. The chase on land is the least likely scenario. The attack in the water, or at the water's edge, is the one you don't see coming. Another myth: crocodiles cry. The phrase crocodile tears has existed in English since at least the 14th century, referring to false or insincere grief. The origin is the ancient belief that crocodiles weep while eating their victims, performing sorrow for the creatures they are consuming. This one has a biological basis, as it happens. Crocodiles do produce a fluid from their lacrimal glands, essentially tears, when they eat. This appears to be a mechanical phenomenon related to the exertion of chewing and swallowing. Hissing and huffing while feeding forces air through the sinuses and stimulates lacrimal secretion. So the crocodile is not performing grief. It is simply a side effect of eating. That the most enduring metaphor we have for false emotion turns out to have a real, unsentimental biological explanation feels somehow appropriate. The myth that bothers biologists most is perhaps the simplest: that crocodiles are mindless, instinct-driven killing machines with nothing going on behind their eyes. We've addressed the intelligence question, but there's a deeper problem with the mindless machine framing, and it's this: it makes crocodiles easier to dismiss, easier to disrespect, easier to kill. Crocodilian populations have declined significantly in the 20th century due to hunting, habitat destruction, and the international skin trade. Several species came close to extinction before protective legislation intervened. The saltwater crocodile was hunted to near collapse across much of its range. American alligators were removed from the endangered species list only in 1987 after decades of protection and careful population management. When we decide an animal is a monster, we give ourselves permission not to think carefully about it. And when we stop thinking carefully about crocodiles, we lose something genuinely irreplaceable: a living link to a world that existed before complex mammals, before flowering plants, before the continents were where they are now. Come back to that river. It is early morning now. Mist on the water. The bank is soft and the air smells like mud and wet grass and something older than either. There is a crocodile hauled out on the far bank. Full length. Motionless. Its eyes, from a distance, look closed, but they are not. Nothing about a crocodile is what it looks like from a distance. It has been alive for 47 years. It has survived drought and flood. It has outlived every other large predator in its territory at least twice over. It has raised young. It has fought rivals. It has gone months without eating and resumed hunting with the same precision it had before. It has healed from wounds that should have killed it. It has watched every animal that shares its river: the hippos, the elephants at the water's edge, the birds that land on its back to pick at parasites in what appears, against all reasonable expectation, to be a mutual tolerance. And it has formed, over those 47 years, a detailed, operational understanding of this particular stretch of water that no map has ever captured. It is not waiting for something to happen. It is not bored. It is not afraid. It is simply here, as it has always been here, as its kind has been here for 80 million years, outlasting ice ages and mass extinctions and the entire history of human civilization several times over. We build cities and they fall. We write stories and they are forgotten. We convince ourselves, generation after generation, that we are the culmination of something, the apex, the pinnacle, the end point toward which all of evolution has been aimed. And then you come to a river at dawn and watch a crocodile open one eye and look directly at you with a gaze that has no urgency in it. No fear, no recognition of any kind. Just an ancient, patient, absolute attention. And something in you, beneath the words and the technology and the accumulated certainties, goes very quiet. Because that eye has been watching things like you for a very long time. And it is in no hurry.